What was your worst experience in a restaurant? Story 1. I was once locked in an Italian restaurant in Amsterdam after trying to leave, about 50 minutes after ordering a pizza. About 10 people came in after us, ordered, and were served, while we waited and waited and waited. Eventually I decided that I'd had enough and made a move to leave. At that moment a crazy old Italian woman charged at me, blocking the path to the door, which she then locked. She began to scream at me, about 2 inches from my face. The other diners were horrified. 3 of her big-ass sons then appeared from the kitchen. All very menacing. She threatened to call the police, which I insisted that she did. She didn't, instead choosing to berate me with a series of progressively aggressive, cultural statements. I dug my heels in, refused to pay for the pizza that we'd never been given, and after about 15 minutes made a firm move back towards the door, which I managed to unlock. We were free. Definitely the worst outcome to a bad case of the munchies that I've ever had. Story 2. It was our first trip to mainland China. We lived in Hong Kong at the time. Our family was having dinner at a mom-and-pop restaurant, sitting at the plastic tables and chairs on the sidewalk out front, when we heard a noise from the table behind us. It sounded like a flock of large birds squawking in pain. Nope, it was actually the sound of the wife-beater-clad, beer-bellied Chinese gentleman at the table behind us vomiting up his dinner onto the sidewalk just beside his chair. He retched and retched. Then he just kept on eating, as if it hadn't happened at all. With a big pool of Chinese food vomit at his feet. Story 3. I was at an Applebee's, small-town fine dining, with a friend I hadn't seen in a while. While we were talking I noticed that part of my salad was moving. A rather large beetle was none too impressed about being covered in shitty ranch dressing and was wiping himself off on my tomatoes. Still haven't had a restaurant salad again. Story 4. Went to a diner and was told to sit anywhere. Sat down in a booth next to the window. Sat for about 20 minutes before the waitress finally comes by and says, "I'll be with you in a minute." The place only had one other table with 2 people at it, who were eating. The waitress was behind the counter with cell phone up to her face playing games, texting, or browsing Reddit. I don't know. I sat for another 20 minutes before I grabbed the ketchup bottle and wrote, "Your service sucks," on the table. As I was walking out the door the waitress looks up from her phone long enough to say, "Have a nice day." You too, I say. Please, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to notifications for new incredible stories from Reddit.